Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. All right. It is day 30 of Silaholics Anonymous Crafty Business Awareness Month, Silaholics Anonymous Craft Month, whichever way you want to say it. Oh my gosh, that was a tongue twister. It is a month all about the things that I have created for both personal and for profit using my Silhouette Studio program and Silhouette Cameo machines. So I have been sharing all month long different projects that you can do as well. So we are wrapping this up. We have one more day left. It was supposed to be a couple more, but I did make the decision to go ahead and wrap it up tomorrow, and I will finish all the stuff for the rest of the week. I'm here for forever and a day. So I have plenty of time to do those other projects. So I'm not going to stress it too much. And I am going to wrap this up on tomorrow because it's been a really long month and your girl is tired. The professor is tired. So we'll continue this at another time as far as the rest of the videos for the week. I was going to try and do Saturday's video and this one all at the same time, but I did not have any more soft foam, and you can't do it with the foam board because that has a paper backing. So whenever I do with the foam board, I normally just cut it with an X-Acto knife. So we're going to do a little bit of print and cut, a little bit of subbing to glitter, because you can do that also to kind of give your centerpieces and things like that, or your little cutouts, a little bit more pop. So we are going to sublimate to some glitter cardstock as well. And I'm just going to share some ideas with you in general about centerpieces and things that you can DIY for yourself. And I started a whole business basically DIY. My hashtag used to be DIY by professional. Oops, hold on. There is something on my heat press that does not belong on there. All right. So yeah, I used to have the hashtag DIY by a professional. And I messed up these keychains because they were underneath the heat press. Oh, wow. Hold on. I'm trying to take these off because I have totally messed up these keychains. All right. There we go. Get rid of that. Okay. So back to what we were talking about. I've made centerpieces in a wide variety of ways. There are so many things that you can do, but today we are going to focus on print and cut ones and how I do those and how I make them to where they are sturdy and things like that. So that's what we're going to go over today. I'm going to show you the very first print and cut I ever did with my Cameo. The very first one. And I still have it. All right. So we're going to get started in just 30 seconds. So this gives you guys time to come out of the live chat. Give this video a thumbs up now. Don't wait to the end because you're going to be so wrapped up in it that by the time it ends, you're going to forget about it. So during this 30-second break, I need for you guys to like the video. I need you guys to hit that share button. I need you to make a post on Facebook to say, hey, Shakia is live over on YouTube. And you can do that just by hitting the share button and sharing to YouTube. All right. So if you guys could do that for me, we will get started in 30 seconds. All right, y'all. Okay, welcome back. I am Shakia, the professor of Silaholics Anonymous, and I have a YouTube channel as well as an academy where I teach you guys how to use Silhouette Studio, which is the software that controls the Silhouette Cameo, Portrait, Curio, Alpha machines. However, it is a pretty decent standalone program, and you can use it by itself. So you don't have to have a machine in order to use the program. You don't have to have a business in order to upgrade to Business Edition or do any of the upgrades. If you want to just start off learning it, you can go to silhouetteamerica.com and download the program for free $99 and be able to use it to design and do other stuff within the program. All right, today we are going to do some print and cut cutouts that can be made into Centerpiece. I'm going to show you how I use popsicle sticks to just make them sturdy. There are ways where you can do basically paper piecing, and you would cut things out from a bunch of like different colors of paper. I personally don't do those. That is just a lot of work, and the amount of work that takes, I find that most people for certain things like centerpieces, they're not really willing to pay that kind of money, and it takes a lot of time to get all those pieces cut out, to then go and arrange them and glue them all down and all that. Like, man, this is one of the reasons why I got a Cameo, and I found out they had a print and cut feature, and you can print and cut much larger. You technically can print and cut up to a 12 by 24 inch sheet of paper. I was like, sign me up. that's like what I really needed, because I never really did the paper piecing. I would print things out and I would cut them by hand for my centerpieces. So to have this program and this machine that would allow me to do it where I didn't have to use these to cut it out, it was just a godsend for me. So I've been rocking with it for, let me see, my niece is 7. I got my first one. I started using it. It was like during her baby shower. So about 7 and a half, 7 and some change years I've had the Cameo. And I was trying to wait. That's why I changed the time. I thought that my husband would be back by now. He went to go drop off all of the printers to UPS for all those who ordered them this weekend. And I thought that he would be back by now, but he's not. And Zani Mani is in there driving them crazy. But this is my very first print and cut with the Cameo. I still have it. I try to keep this in a place where it won't get messed up. It's seen some better days. It has some little spots on it and color starting to fade a little bit on it, but it's still here. This is my very first print and cut. And back then when I did these, I used to cut an offset so that, just to kind of give it a little extra. Back then, I didn't know about cutting the middle part out, as you can see. Have definitely learned about that since then. But kind of went in there, knew what offset did and all that kind of good jazz. So my very first print and cut. Still have it from 7 years ago. 7 years ago. But yeah, so I'm going to show you guys how to do this. All right, let's put that there. And let's also head over to, what's this thing called? YouTube. Oh, you saw it. Oh, someone posted in the group. So that's how you found out. So let's head on over to my Instagram, and I will share with you guys some other items that I have done. But while we're over here, which is we hit the share button, I am on my website. So if you have not done so already, click the link in the description. Head on over to shop.silaholics.anonymous.com. We have the Change the Game Sublimation paper, some amazing sublimation ink that produce wonderful colors. And I mean true blacks, because it's black in the bottle. So it has no choice but to produce great blacks. We also have pigment ink. I am using, honestly speaking, pigment ink for the projects that I'm going to print out today. There's files, templates, and things like that that's on the site. I just updated. Just like when I say just, I just updated. So you guys probably will see, if you've ever ordered the PNG file, there is an update for it. I just added some more fades to it. So if you have version 4.4 that has like that automatic PNG trace, you're just going to open up the silhouette file to get to the other colors, and then you can copy and paste them and then use them in your projects. But I have added, so these are the originals, and I've added a lot more colors, and I'm going to probably I'm gonna end up doing some more, like as I need other fades and other colors and stuff like that, I'm gonna add them. But it would make it where you have to keep getting that download. So what I will end up doing is probably I can just have a running catalog, and those who have access to it, they will have access to all of the fade bars as I create them and add them. But this would probably be the last set that I do as far as updating it for the website. And then if you want the ones that I just continue to create, that'll be something that's available within my academy, because yeah, it's a lot. And sometimes people can't find the newer version because the site doesn't, I mean, you can't do it on the site. You have to find your email and then go and download it. So it's a whole lot of. Wait, tape that doesn't leave streaks behind? Huh? What are you talking about, mother? But yeah, so that is the fade bar update. So since we are here, but we have that on the website, you can go to essentials and it's under all of the collections because that is an essential item and the fade bars are there. Okay. So yeah, you should have received an email today that said, hey, there was an update to a file that you purchased. And so you'll go on there, you'll update the one, you'll download the one that says updated August 2021. And that has the new colors to it. Okay. But yeah, so visit the website shop.silaholics.com. And as I mentioned, we do have an academy site where I teach people graphic designing via Silhouette Studio, and I have some other great classes as well. So that can be found on academy.silaholics.com. The link for that is in the description of this video. So let's head on over to my Instagram. No, the fade is not a part of the color chart. It is a totally separate purchase. So I'm going to go over here and kind of go through some of the different centerpiece and things I've made over the years using my Cameo. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I did before I got a Cameo. I think I really only have one on here, and that's my niece's. Well, it was the baby shower for my niece, but it was for her baby shower, and I hand cut all of that stuff, all of it. So I meant to go and scroll down on this. All right, hold on, y'all. I'm trying to let my niece know that her mom's here. Hold on. All right, I'm back. Gonna keep on scrolling down, down, down to the bottom. Keep on scrolling down, down to the bottom. All right, so some of the things that I have made that are centerpieces, I've made balloon centerpieces, and they just kind of put the print and cut on it. This is one I hand cut. All of this, I hand cut it all. This is on foam board, so she doesn't have like the traditional stick. She is on foam board that was hand cut with an X-Acto knife as well. Though the three is cut from I think that's blue cardstock, like the outline, and then there's like a print and cut there. I did these back in the day from what program was I doing this in? This wasn't Silhouette Studio. But this is not necessarily a centerpiece, but it could be, but it was like a tabletop design, like it was a mobile cupcake stand. And it sat on a table, and then I had like my foam board, like my foam circles. And so it was for my goddaughter's school. and Hershey, all the part around it is wrapped Hershey bars, and the kids were able to take that off and with their cupcake and all that stuff. So I've done some larger kind of like centerpiece items, and I just hand cut them. So this was from the hand cutting days. These are from the hand cutting days. So I print them in sections, kind of split them, cut them by hand. These are on foam board. All of this foam board is also cut by hand with an X-Acto knife. This was not done with the hot wand because you cannot cut through foam board with a hot wand because of the paper layer. So there were about 6 to 8 tables that had all of these different big animals like seahorses and dolphins and sharks. And there are 1,000,001 little fishes that I cut out. And man, my hands were driving me crazy after that. So I have whales, and you can see them in the ceiling. And all of these were hand cut. These centerpieces, I wish I had a better picture of these centerpieces. They were so bomb. It was foam, like it was a foam board box. That's real sand, real seashells. And then I put like styrofoam in there so that I can stick the images, like so they can stand up. Like it, child, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot for this. But it was for my sister and my niece. So see, there's like 1,000,001 of these friggin' fish, and they are Tanaichi. This here is foam board that is spray painted and made into a box. And then of course, this is another one that is hand cut out for the print, and then on the actual foam. So a lot of different options for centerpieces. Look at all those in the ceiling. I look back at this and I was like, I don't know what the heck I was thinking. My sister I must really love my sister because that was a lot. Okay, 1 second, y'all. All righty. Sorry about that. Let's see. Other centerpiece ideas. More boxes. These I cut by hand. So all of the little animals you see here, this was definitely before Cameo days. I cut all of these out by hand. That's why I was like, I was so glad when I finally started using the Cameo because this was too much. But I love doing it. Like, I mean, now I consider it to be too much, but I love doing it. This was one of the first invitations I created in Silhouette Studio. One of the first that I created in this program. I wish I still had one of those. I never printed out an extra one, and I don't even have that file anymore. But that one, I was so proud of myself with that one. I mean, it was front and back. So it was really, really cool the way that was set up. So, and then all the stuff to match it, the game book, of course, the animals and all that stuff matched it as well. Centerpieces from foam board. These are the soft foam. So I cut them out with the hot wand. Oh my gosh, why is he still screaming, Dad? So yeah, a lot of stuff that you can do. There's another close-up of that one, and you can kind of somewhat see this, like it was almost like a whole table runner. Like that's just how big it was. Please give me a sec. I really thought my husband would be back by now. 1 second. Okay, so we have these are centerpieces, more print and cuts. So you can see, like, I mean, I really, really kind of took to doing things as print and cuts for centerpieces. Let's kind of come out of this one so we don't have to go through all of my pictures and kind of get to some of the more updated ones. Hold on. Let's see. Let's go up, 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 up. These were centerpieces that were just cardstock. So it's like you can create centerpieces literally from anything, guys. The possibilities are endless. These were the 3D letters along with 3D Eiffel Towers. I had a poodle that I traced. Well, I got the image, I traced it, printed that out, cut it out. Well, cut it out on cardstock, traced it on foam board, cut that out, spray painted it. So your Cameo can aid you in so many different ways for creating different centerpieces. All right, so let's see. I'm trying to find some of the actual print and cut ones. This was a really cool one. Also designed in Silhouette Studio, print and cut to create a lamp, a 3D lamp. I'm trying to get to the really good ones. Let's see. Silhouette, print and cut, paper cut. Like this is just from actually, that's not even color cardstock. That is cut out of white cardstock, and then I spray painted the white cardstock to make it look like a wood crib. That one was pretty cool too. And then you can make them to where they hang from the ceiling. These were some really big centerpieces, print and cut. This is cut in, okay, let's see if I can remember how this was cut up. If I'm not mistaken, it is cut right along here through here. And I believe all of this is one piece. Then the back half, I think, is another piece. And then all of this is another piece, if I'm not mistaken. So that's cut up into like 3 or 4 different pieces for this particular file. When you are, oh, you know what? No, I can see Pebbles is cut out there. So she may have been on top also. But there's a way for you to go in and strategically cut on like what are considered like to be natural break lines, where they line up is, you know, like the edge of the blanket. So it won't look so noticeable. I don't ever really do like one straight line in the middle. Unfortunately, if you have like a Cricut, you have to do it that way. That's the joy of Silhouette Studio and having a Cameo is for things like this. If you don't use the Cameo, your Cameos for anything else, they are magnificent for print and cut designs for centerpieces. This is 4 pieces. No, 3 pieces. 11 by 17, 11 by 17, 11 by 17. So yeah, that's 3 pieces for this particular one. And it was pretty wide too. Let's see. And then there are the smaller versions of that. There is that big one over there. Let's see. Other centerpieces. then you can take it and combine it with other items. So I designed this whole thing in Silhouette Studio. I went over this again in a video on how you can design this and set this up. And then just using a Dollar Tree vase, some ribbon, some paper shreds, bubble gum, got a whole centerpiece there. So you don't have to leave it where it's just the print and cut. You can add other items to it. So you just have to think outside the box and, as I always say, to unlock your creativity. Here's some more. And this is all silhouette. And this is foam board. So before I used to do a lot of putting the outline around it. And once I got better with it, you'll notice that a lot of my later stuff, I don't have the outline. I was a bit more confident in how it cut out and not needing that buffer of the outline and just kind of having that there just in case things were a little bit off. So I got a whole lot better with it. But when I first started, I would put the outline around it a lot. So yeah, almost everything I had outlines around when I first started doing these. It does add a certain level and it can make it look like it's 3D and kind of pop out. But then there are times where it really does look better when it is just the image. Like I had this little like bustier, there was like a denim one, and it really looked like the top because there was no white edge on it. So these have white edges, like all of these kind of have white edges. Hopefully hopefully I have that one on here where it wasn't a white edge on it. So you can kind of see how that looks so realistic. Oh, well, see here, I got to a point to where I was no longer doing edges on it. So it's cut right to the edge. So they literally look like they were jumping off these buildings because you don't have that breakup of color by having the white edge to it. And then here is a Mickey where there wasn't an intentional white edge, but there's a little bit of peekaboo white. But if you look at this one, he was darn near perfect. And it just looks really, really 3D because you don't have that white edge on it. Here's another one. Really got confident and stopped using the white edge on it. So it's just a straight Care Bear, no edge on that one at all. So yeah, we're going to jump into this is one of my favorite, my all-time favorite parties, my nieces, and look at how they look. Like they look like the actual characters, you know, almost as if they were the stuffed animal versions and not just flat. So these were from my niece's second birthday. All right, so that's what we're going to learn today. So let's head over to Silhouette Studio. I already I set this one up. I added a number to it, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to trace and detach and be able to size this up. So we're going to zoom into here. We're going to go to the trace panel, select trace area, place our box around it. And he has a solid black outline. So it is really easy for this one. Like it's a easy trace. It's going to pick up on that black immediately. You don't have to have everything colored in when you're doing a trace and detach. The only thing that you're looking for is that there is a continuous stream of yellow all the way around it, and there are no breaks. If there are breaks, the trace is gonna look a little funky once you trace and detach. But all you want to do is make sure that you have yellow all the way around the perimeter of your image, and then you're going to hit trace and detach. We're going to move this out of the way. All right. Hold on one second. So apparently, I did not realize that. My mom told me that when I had to yell at my child to come get his brother. You guys could hear me. I feel horrible about that. So sorry, had to be a mommy and yell for them because I'm locked in my office. I will say though, if I listen back to this and it is horrible because y'all can hear me yelling at my kids, I'm going to delete this video so y'all can listen to this tutorial now. But if it sounds crazy, I am going to delete this tutorial. I just saw my mom's comment and I'm like, wait a minute, what? I hit mute because I'm in my office and they are so far away and MJ acts like he can't hear me. So I'm just letting y'all know now, this video may not stay up if I listen to it and y'all can hear me yelling at kids. So from my office, I wasn't, so yeah. Anywho, so I'm going to, now get rid of the middle part. Now my mother has me all thrown off. And it's so weird because now she's like, she can't hear me. But all y'all saying y'all didn't hear anything, but she's like, we can't hear you. So I don't know. I don't know how she heard me, but yeah. So anywho, we're now going to go back to trace and then go select trace area again. And then we're going to put the box here. And this one is kind of the same thing. I don't really need the entire thing to be colored in. All I need is to make sure that the edges of this is covered in yellow. For this one, I'm going to do a basic trace. There is another way. This is one piece to this, so I'm going to make a duplicate of it. So I'm going to show you a different way if you have Designer Edition or above. If you don't have Designer Edition or above, you're just using the free version of it, you will do what I did the first time. You're going to do a trace. Then you're going to click on that trace. How you know you have the trace, you see how this box is basically covering his whole body? That means I have that entire image selected. I'm going to click on just this part down here. So now I have just that trace that I did. I have that one selected. So I'm going to click on, well, put any color there. Doesn't really matter what color it is. Then you're going to right click and release compound path. Then we're going to hold down shift and click on the middle section. When things are selected, if you hold down shift and click on it, you deselect it. Then you hit delete on your keyboard. It's going to delete everything else except that little section in the middle. Then you're going to select it and then go to modify and subtract. So now that area is gone. If you have Designer Edition or above, you have additional trace options. One of them being trace by color. You would click on trace by color. Click on trace by color and then there's like a little dropper that comes up. Y'all see that moving? You're going to click in that white area and then you're going to take your tolerance up so that it fills in the entire section. Once that's done, you're going to go, well, once that's filled in, you're going to hit trace and detach. So when you're doing the trace by color, it needs to all be filled in. But when you're doing the regular trace, it does not. So once you go trace and detach, you're going to take this and delete it. Now we have this little shadow piece here. We don't need those. So we're going to go over to our knife tool and just split it. And once you split that, you can now use your edit points to contour around his foot. So now we're going to double click and we're going to hold down shift and drag and select there, delete point, select these points, hit delete point, and there we go. All right. So now that is gone from the middle. This was originally how it was. This is how it is now. If you would like to put anything on here as far as a name, number, you can add that to it also. So once you have your entire design, you're going to see once I cut this out, you're going to do it as a cut edge. So it doesn't matter if you add anything additional to it. It doesn't have to be images like this either. If you wanted it to look like, you know, the actual action figures and wanted those blown up to be on the table, you can do that also. So for this one, we're going to go to trace, select trace area, place the box around it. And we're going to increase our threshold. And for this one, it may end up being completely covered because there are a lot of light areas in here that we have to account for. So I'm going to continue to take this up until my goal is to get all of the edges masked in yellow. So if there's a lot of light items, especially along the edge, then you will have to take it up and pretty much the entire thing will be shaded in. His eyes are not, and I'm going to intentionally leave that out so you can see that if a part is left out, it's okay. You're going to go trace and detach. Move this out of the way. All right. So to remove all of this, because we took it up so high so that we could get the white here, we're going to go back in. We're going to do the whole thing. I'm going to take this up. I'm going to go trace and detach and move this out of the way. Now, by doing that way, I also now have it. See how I left all of these little pieces behind? I'm going to undo. What I want to do with these is select them and weld it all back together. So now it's back to being one piece, because when I did the trace, I did the first one and I had the outline of it, but to get that one middle piece out, I couldn't really do a trace on just that part because it wasn't closed in. Now for this part, I can do it how I remove the white parts. You can use, again, trace by color. I personally prefer to do the regular trace and subtract method. So we're going to go there. We're going to increase our threshold just a little. And then trace and detach. I'm sorry, not trace and detach. Jesus, undo. Trace. Click on the trace. And then release compound path. Hold down shift, click on these two middle parts, delete, and it shifted just a little bit. So let me move this up some because it shifted just a little. We're going to then select both of the colored pieces as well as the original image and go over to modify and subtract. So now I have removed that to where once I go and cut it out, it will cut in this area also, and it won't be how Sophia the First was, where you had that white area under her arms. This will be a cutout in those areas, and it won't be white. If I put a different background on it, you would see that, or it'll just, if I just do a backing that matches it, it's just going to, you're just going to see straight through those areas. So it'll look like an actual action figure standing up there on the table, just blown up. All right. This was another one. This is a really good resolution image, but let's say this, okay, I'm going to say, let's say I could only find this image for this particular turtle. But of course, you know, there's like the yellow, the orange one, the red one, and the green one. So we can go on here and select trace area. I wouldn't be able to necessarily get, well, I could by going through a lot of other different methods, but I'm not going to go through that detail of a process. But if I wanted to make it where I had the outline of this with the mask and the different colors, I'm going to take it up to just here. So I'm not trying to cover the whole thing in. I'm going to go trace. We're going to move this out of the way. We're going to click on this. I'm going to just add color to it for now. And then we're going to release compound path. Click off. I'm going to click on all the areas that should be green. Go to my color palette and make them green. And then group them together. Then I'm going to click on all the parts of the mask. And for now, let's just make it blue and group that together. The whites of the eyes, group them. This is actually a bad trace. And then the tongue, we're going to go there and group that. Now I can make this into any turtle, like whatever color I want it to be. So if I make a duplicate of it, I can make it the one with the red, or, oops. And I'm actually not too happy with this trace. I know that this isn't, you know, for an actual project, but I don't like that trace. So we're going to do it again. Take the scale down. Let me see. Or maybe this image isn't as great as of an image I thought it was. Actually, yeah, this image really does have a lot of pixels to it. It's actually not as sharp as I thought. But this allows you to see that in order to get a really good clean trace, your base image needs to be a high resolution image where you're not going to have all of that pixelation. So if we just go trace, you're going to see some bumps on there. Yeah, so it's like some little ridges on there. It's not super, super smooth because that original image wasn't smooth. Whenever you want to trace to where you're going to fill it in with color, you will need to have a really good image. But with this one, if you wanted to do the one where you piece it together with cutting individual pieces of cardstock, this is how you would do that. So you would trace it to be able to isolate these items or these colors, and then you can cut them from individual pieces of crock. So that's an option also. The way that this is, so you see here, I have Zion Imani's name on the bottom, which I meant to fill in with color, but the sword is here. But that is right there. You can also use trace and detach for things like that. So we're going to go select trace area. We're going to select it. They're both on the same, they're both a part of the same PNG. I'm going to go up just a little bit and I'm going to go trace and detach. Once you go trace and detach, it's going to detach both of those from this invisible background. If I go like that and add color, see, there was this invisible background where their cutouts now are. But once you do that, this is now a separate PNG, and this is a separate PNG. So if you wanted to put it to the side, send it to the back, you wanted to rotate it, okay, you want to flip it horizontally and place it over here, rotate it, it's at the top. You are able to freely transform this because you have separated it from the transparent background. All right. And I'm not doing this one, but it will pretty much be the same thing for this one. Any questions on trace and detach, or just like tracing and getting this all set up? I'm going to open up another one because I'm going to do the LOL one on glitter cardstock. So let's go open. Let's go to pictures and, oh, let me see, downloads. Where do I have those LOL dolls? I don't know, but let's just do, I might end up doing Miss Piggy if I can't find the LOL dolls. All right, let's just do Miss Piggy then. Where did she go? Oh no, she might be too small. Oh, she's not too bad because I'm going to do it on 8.5 by 11 anyway. So I'm going to come over here. My machine is going to be on. My cutting mat is, of course, on. It doesn't matter if it's 12 by 12 or 12 by 24. I'm going to use a 12 by 24, so I have it set to that. Then you make your design page size, the size of the paper that you will be printing to. And then we're going to shrink this down, rotate her, make her a little bit bigger so we can take up the entire span of the 8.5 by 11 paper. When you're doing a traditional print and cut, you would end up having to cut this part out manually. But because of the power of sublimation, we can sublimate this to either colored, laminated cardstock or glitter cardstock. And so I'm going to laminate it. I'm going to, sub it to glitter cardstock. This allows me to make this a lot bigger than I would if I was using print and cut. Because once you go over to the third icon under page setup, which is your registration marks, you turn that on. I always max my thickness out. I can push my insets out because I do have a wide format printer. You end up with registration marks, and she's kind of in the restrictive area. I personally never go below 0.625. I normally have mine maxed out, and it really wouldn't work. There is a much smaller or lower number, but this does not help give you an accurate print and cut. And sometimes it's hard for it to pick up because it is so small. And when the eye is reading it, it can be a little bit off. So your cut can be off. In order to get the most accurate cuts on your print and cut, you want to have your registration marks as big as you can possibly get them without intruding on anything. And you want to have them really close to your design. Also, if I were to do this one as a print and cut, I would not be able to, it would not cut this part right here. I would have to manually cut that area. Same thing with her foot and the back of her cape. I'm going to trace and detach her because I believe I did this one from P&G Tree and it was just the preview. And whenever you do the preview one from P&G Tree, it gives you this little weird gray part on the outside. I'm going to see if I can get rid of that by doing a trace and detach. But there's so many light areas that I might still pick it up. So trace and detach. Some of it went away. Let's see. How much of it did I get rid of? Not very much of it. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. So I'm going to take it and center it back to page. And zoom back in on here. So I'm going to turn off my registration marks because I'm not doing this one as a print and cut. I'm going to cut and sub this one. So let's turn that off. And because I've already printed out my other Ninja Turtle, we're going to go ahead and just send this to print to my Sublimation printer. I'm going to choose my 8.5 by 11 paper. All of my settings remain the same. I have several videos that go over my print settings: plain paper, bright white, quality is set to quality, quiet mode on, color corrections, custom advanced, Adobe RGB 1.8, high speed on, mirror on, maintenance, extended settings, thick paper envelope, and for this one, density -10. Although she doesn't have a lot of dark colors, I could do -5, but we're going to leave it where it's at. So okay, and print. So I'm going to let that print out, which, you know what? I'm not worried about it. My magenta, I don't know. I think I need to change out the cartridge because it keeps getting breaks in that print head. So I think I need to change out that cartridge. So let me put sublimation paper in here, and then we're going to do the print and cut on the Ninja Turtle. Where is my 8.5 inch sublimation paper? I'm out. Oh, here's some here. Oh, I probably should have just printed it from my 2720. All right, that one is going. So that's the sublimation one. And here is this print, and it's ready to go for me to do that one. But I do have to set up a new mat because my mat is no longer sticky. So you guys are going to get to see me set up my Cricut mat. How did you do the number behind the turtle? All right, let's go back to that one. I can't move this one around, so I just want to grab because I know that's the original one. So you're going to type, oh, wait, we can't see it. Haha. There we go. So you're going to type out your number, and then you would fill it with color. I wanted it to somewhat match like the feel of the whole turtle. So I did an offset. And I think I did that one at 0.01 or 0.1 or either 0.075, one of the two. And then apply, and I made that black. Oops. And then I clicked on the middle one again and did an internal offset, and I sampled the green. And then on this one, I did a regular offset, and that was really small, 0.025, I think, or 0.05, one of the two. Apply, and I made that one black. Selected them, grouped them together. Remove the line color on them, and then it sits in front. Right click, send it to the back, and I can move that wherever I want it to be on the design. So at the top, at the bottom here, I can make it bigger, make it smaller. You are able to design it however you like. You do not need Business Edition to do anything that I have done on here other than the trace by color. You would need Designer, Designer Plus, or Business Edition for that. But everything else that I have done on here, you would be able to do with just the free basic version of Silhouette Studio. All right. So I'm sorry. I was going to show some other items too before I went to do that. Like I said, I was DIY by a professional. If you know me, you know one of my favorite things to use is foam board. This is foam board. It's just wrapped with denim fabric, bling mesh. Great way to kind of make centerpieces where you can put your cutout in here, put tissue paper in it. You can do things where, or you can go and add well, not this, I just grabbed some flowers, but you can make it to where you could create the big bouquet. So this is the base and you can put flowers on here. I put lights on it. This was the topper. I was trying so hard to find the pictures from my baby shower, but you can make centerpieces from anything. This was a small bouquet topper for, it was like a small vase, but these are all rolled flowers. Takes a little time to get them done, but you definitely can create a lot of custom things by using your Silhouette Cameo and, of course, the program, because you have to set up your images and stuff like that. Cutting vinyl, putting them on different items, bottles, glasses. For Thanksgiving, I have pumpkins that say family. So there's a lot of things that you can do as far as centerpieces with using the Cameo and Silhouette Studio. So let's go and set up my Cricut mat because my other ones are not sticky and I don't feel like taping down all that stuff. So we're going to set this Cricut mat up. Oh, wait, before we go there, let's go over here so I can set it up. We're going to open up a new one. I need to first, if you, I know mine is set up, but just in case yours is not, you want to go to your preferences. See my mouse here? We're going to come down here to preferences, or you can hit Control K, Command K on a Mac. You're going to go to where it says defaults. Right here where it says cut to edge of page, that must be selected. Cut to edge of page must be selected. All right, I'm going to cancel that because mine is already done. I'm going to make a box that I'm going to make my design page 12 by 24. Then I'm going to make a box and I'm going to make this box 12 by 24. If you have the version of Silhouette Studio that has that weird glitch that won't let you go above 19.685 inches, you will make a box and make that 12 by 12. And then you're going to duplicate it below, double click on it, grab, like add a point here, bring it up, select them both, and then weld. Or if you feel like I'm still intimidated by edit points, you can just drag this to where it overlaps it, then select it and weld. Then you will have a 12 by 24 inch box. If you're doing a full 12 by 12 mat, if you're doing just a 12 by 24 inch mat, if you're doing a 12 by 12, you make your box 12 by 12, you make your mat 12 by 12, you make your paper 12 by 12. All right, so whichever one you have, you're then going to center it to page. This icon right here, if you hover over any of the icons, it tells you exactly what they are. So this is center to page. Then you want to take a line and hold down Shift, make a straight line going down, and then make a straight line going across. Take both of those lines and put it to the inside of the page. Select the original box, the two lines, go back over to transform, a line to the left, a line to the top. Click on that box and move it out of the way or delete it. You don't need it. So now we'll go set, well, before we set it up, let's just set up our cut settings. So go to send. I'm going to set my blade to 5 because I just want it to cut all the way. Well, I could probably do 4, but I'll just do 5. I want to cut through the tape. 20 is fine. And then like 5 is fine because I'm just cutting through, I'm going to be cutting through some tape here. So all of that is fine there. Now let's go over to my table so that I can set up the mat. Hopefully this is enough tape because this is the last little bit of Dollar Tree tape that I have. I don't care for the one from Family Dollar. It doesn't stick very well. I'm going to first de-stick this. by putting it on either like my shirt or putting a shirt on top of it or a cloth on top of it so that it can remove some of the extra stick on there, because that can rip your paper if it's a thin paper. And the paper that I'm putting on here is pretty thin. So I'm just going to put, just to help de-stick it a little bit. So before I even use it, I got to dirty my mat up because I don't like all that stick when I'm using a thinner paper. All right. I'm going to take my masking tape and put it along the edge. And I really don't have to go this long, because once you kind of get the top part lined up, the bottom part really does fall in place. So I'm wasting my good Dollar Tree tape. I really don't have to. Then I'm going to go across the top of this. I'm going to do the other side. Ooh, I'm about to run out of tape. This side I'm not going to go all the way down because I'm about to run out of tape. So I'm going to load my mat in. So hit load cut mat for this particular machine, or just hit load if you're using like a 3 or a 4. I'm going to move this down some because it needs to feed all the way through. And if it hits here, it's going to mess up. So I'm going to just pull this down some to make sure my full 24 inches can get through. And then we're going to send it to cut on that line. All right, let me plug up the machine because this is not Bluetooth. So it's just going to go straight down. It did hit. It's okay. It hit after it got to the, but that means my top line might be off. So I'm going to cut that top line again. I didn't pull it back far enough because it hit the back of it and it moved. So let me go on here and turn that off. So what I'm doing is going on, and then this line over here, I'm going to make that one no cut. I'm just going to let it cut the top one again. Just to make sure that it is in the correct spot. Wait, why did you not unload? Okay, let's try this again. Unload. Was that in the right spot? I don't know. We're going to see again. Load mat. Oh, it probably was in the right spot. Okay, and send. Just to be on the safe side, I'm going to send it again, just to make sure that that line is the same line. See, it was not. Haha. It was definitely off. All right. So now it's on the right line. I'm going to unload. I'm going to turn that line back on that I turned off. And I'm going to flip it to the other side. You cannot just do one big box because of the margins of the mat. So you have to flip it around and then send it to cut again. Why do I sometimes get rigid looking lines when I print and cut? Probably because your image is not a high resolution image. Your original image probably has those ridges on it, and you just see it more once you do a print and cut. And when you trace and detach, if it was rigid lines on there, when it cuts, it's going to be rigid because the image wasn't a high resolution image. Yes, it is so worth it. All right, so that's done. I'm going to unload it. Then I'm going to take my weeding tool and just pull this up where it cut at. Same thing on this side. Flip it around. And this side cut on the wrong one before. It was too low. This was the correct one. So see, it was cutting in the wrong spot. This is the correct spot, I believe. Yeah, because it needs more space up there. So we're going to pull that off and then come inside here and make sure it goes to the line. It needs to be that straight line. All right. Now that that is done, we're going to take our print and put it on here. This makes it to where this mat is completely calibrated. I think this also aids in me getting a really good print and cut because I'm placing my mat like exactly where the machine is going to look for the image. And I know it's the exact spot because I made the line based off of where the edge of the paper was on the program. So I think that this also aids in me getting really, really good print and cuts. And I don't like silhouette mats because they are super, super thin. When you go to cut on them, they kind of, you can cut into the mat. I just think that these are a lot thicker and a lot better. So for now, until HS ink mats, I use the Cricut mats. So we're just going to put that down on there. Load that. I'm going to check my blade. So I'm at a 6. This paper is pretty thin, so I'm going to take it down to like a 5. All right, that's ready to go. Let's go to our image. All right, we're going to go to send. Once you print, you cannot move anything. Oh man, I'm a little bit below. So you're going to see what happens when your image is not all the way in the registration mark. So It doesn't affect how it cuts. I just will have to cut that piece by hand. So I'm going to select everything that is here, and I'm going to choose cut edge. See, now it doesn't cut where that 4 is. You don't have to do anything to it. These items are not grouped together. They're not a compound path. They're not welded. You do not have to do any of that stuff. All you have to do is make sure you select it all and choose cut edge, and it will automatically cut to the edge of it. And if you're getting rigid lines, like with stuff like that, that means you need a new blade. Oh, you say even when you use a new blade. Yeah, I'm not sure then. All right, so we're going to take this up to 5. I'm going to take this up to, this is thin paper, so I can probably go 25. My speed, 5. And I'm only going to do 1 pass on this because that paper is pretty thin. It's only a 65-pound paper, I think. And then we're going to go and send. See, it jumped over the foot. Oh, I forgot to turn on my glue gun. Just gonna rip that piece. I probably should have gone, actually went my first instinct and went with 25. I never changed my blade out from yesterday, and I realized yesterday it was going out, it was going bad. So this is a super sticky mat, so I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to peel the image off of, I'm going to peel the mat off of the image instead of peeling the image off of the mat. So there's that, and this was where it stuck to the paper, to the mat a little bit. And this is what happens when it's outside of the registration line. It just doesn't cut that area, and you have to manually cut it. I need to cut the backing for this. To make it thicker, you can do a couple backings for it and just layer them up, or you can, you know, cut it with a thicker one, thicker paper. This particular paper is 65 pounds. It's not very heavy at all. So I am going to mat this, and I'm going to do the other side of it. So we're going to cut the 2 pieces for this first, and then I'll do the back side. At first, I wasn't going to do it double-sided, but I guess I'll show you guys double-sided also. All right, let me make this 25. Oh, it was on 25. Let me make it 26. Oh, wait. Very important right there. I have it set on here. The registration marks are still there. So it's going to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs looking for a registration mark that doesn't exist. And then eventually it'll tell me that it can't find it, but I'm just going to turn it off because it'll just keep doing that looking for the mark. So I'm just going to turn that off, pull this out, turn it back on. What I forgot to do over here was go back to design and just hit M on my keyboard to turn the registration marks off. And then now I can send it to cut that piece. And I'm going to cancel this because if I hit restart, it is going to still look for the registration mark. So cancel it and send it again. And now it's going to just cut. I've cut 100. I don't particularly care to cut 110, but I've cut that. I've cut thick foam sheets. I've cut the magnet sheets. So it can cut some pretty thick things. It just can't do it in one pass. It's like when I cut the magnet sheets, it took, oh, wow. It took a lot of passes to go through it. And I had to keep changing the blade depth for it to keep adjusting to finally get through that magnet sheet. So it can cut through some pretty thick things. You just have to keep adjusting the blade depth and the pressure and cutting it multiple times. So do you have to do this with all mats? I have. So with the Pro, if you're going to use a 24-inch mat, I highly recommend that you do that. Also with the Plus, there is an issue with the 24-inch mats and the 15 by 15 mats where it does not pick up in the correct spot for print and cuts. So if you're using those mats and you're using a small sheet of paper, like 11 by 17, 8.5 by 11, I definitely recommend that you do that with your silhouette mats. Even though I'm using a Cricut, this is ideal for silhouette mats. So you want to use that. Or you can just simply go to a 12 by 12 or 12 by 24 inch silhouette mat, and it'll pick up the registration marks with the Pro or the Plus. Or get a Cricut mat. I had to do this because I am using a Cricut mat with a silhouette machine. The sticky area does not line up for these two machines. I hate my mats are super, super sticky right out of the pack. Now, if you're doing heavier cardstock, you can put just one piece of paper on the back. Like I said, this is a much thinner cardstock. This is only 65 pounds. So I'm going to cut another piece, and then I'm going to, while this is cutting, I'm going to print out the reverse side of this. And then we're going to cut out our Miss Piggy from the glitter cardstock. All right, so over this one, I can actually just send again. And then while that's going, we're going to come back over here to design. the reason why I wasn't going to do this as a double-sided is when it comes to a number and then the L on his belt, they are going to appear to be backwards. There's really no way around that, at least for the 4. For this one, I can modify it to where it will appear to be the correct way. But for the 4, there's nothing I can do about that. So if you do anything double-sided that has text to it, it is going to show backwards because you have to mirror it. That's why normally, unless it's like a solid image, I typically don't do a 2-sided centerpiece unless it's just an image. So with this one, we're going to take the whole thing and we're going to flip it horizontally, flip to the other side. Now, if I really, really wanted to, I can make the L on his belt the correct way. And I would do that by making a copy of just him. I'm going to go to my circle, my ellipse tool. I'm going to put a circle around this part right here because that area is a circle. I'm going to hold down Shift and select him and then go to modify and crop. So it's going to crop it down to that. I'm going to flip that horizontally, right click, paste in front, hold down Shift, select all of this part, right click, send it to the back. So now the L appears to be the right way. And I'm just going to select it all and group it all together because I don't want that to move. I'm going to hit M on my keyboard and turn my registration marks back on and send this to print. All right, let's take this one up so I don't have to cut this one like I have to do the other one. All right, and so we're going to go File, Print. I'm going to send this one to my 7820 printer. And it should already be set up. And okay, and print. So that one's good. And we're going to go over, once that's done, we're going to go over to the Miss Piggy. And let's go back over here. Unload. Oh, I'm out of paper. Let me load some paper in the printer. Oh my gosh. All right, and then here's our print for the Miss Piggy, which we're going to cut that out now. Let me grab a sheet of glitter cardstock. I don't have the cover for this. This is just from Recollections. It's just glitter cardstock. This is pretty thin also. It is a, it feels really light. It's probably a 65-pound just with glitter on top. So we're going to put this on here. Brush it down, rub it down. I'm going to go over to my image here. I'm going to go send. I have this on 5. I'm going to put this at a force of 24, speed of 5, but this is glitter, so I'm going to do 2 passes. And ooh, this is and this is one too, where someone asks, why is it so rigid? I did the trace and detach on this, and because this has all of these little areas right here. Oh, wait, you guys can't see. Because this has all of these little areas right here, it's showing up as rigid. You will think that you got a really good one, but this is really not that great. If I put a line color on it, then I can see where all of those ridges were. So I'm going to go through this really fast, but you get to watch it. I'm going to go through this and literally do a manual trace on this because I don't feel like dealing with trace and detach right now. So let's do this. I'm going to go like that and delete point. I really wish I could play music so that it's not boring during this part as I'm adjusting my edit points. Okay, wait, you know what? No, let's do it this way. Because I don't want all those extra points anyway. All right. Let me add a few points. And then I'm going to select all of these. All right, I'm going to go in and manually trace this. I don't know if you guys want to ask other questions so that it's not dead air. I mean, I know this is going to be pretty boring watching me. Like, it's just going to be dead silence. And it's probably going to be exciting on the live, but watching the playback of it, they're probably like, okay, why is it all this silence? Like, watching it live, you're anticipating the end result, but I know that can be kind of crazy watching the playback. Which class teaches edit points? I don't have a dedicated class for edit points. You must join my my academy for graphic designing, and we have a date where we did manual tracing and we broke it down, and you still get to kind of see all of that. You get a practice assignment that you get to follow through on it, and that is the best way to learn edit points. I may consider doing a class like that's just on that gives you a practice assignment to actually go through, tracing items to kind of get a better hang of to better understand them. So that was the first one that we did. And we went through manually tracing. And as we go through some designing, we're going to modify some letters using edit points. So the first part of it has been done. So if you want to kind of get in before we do the next part of it to really get a full understanding of how they can be used, just go to academy.silaholicsanonymous.com and sign up for the master's or doctorate program. She says, that was a great class. Plus, just watching you trace, I've learned a lot and gotten pretty good at it. No, this is manual tracing, not magnet. This is manual tracing. I'm tracing using my edit points. This is the same way that graphic designers trace in Photoshop using the pen tool. When you want a precise trace, you don't rely on the quick selection in Photoshop. You don't rely on the trace of Illustrator or Silhouette Studio. When you want a precise trace, you have to go in there with your pen tool in Photoshop. Well, Adobe's products, it's called the Bezier tool in Corel Draw, or edit points here in Silhouette Studio. This is what you have to do when you want a very precise trace and you want it right on the edge of an item that trace would otherwise not be able to give you. Let's see. Nope, no questions over there. And you can see all of the ridges here. And that's how that will cut out. And it will go. And so now your machine is going to go like trying to cut through all of that, when you can just go in and smooth that out so that the machine has one line to actually go around. So you just go in here and cut all of that area off. I almost wish I was doing this as a print and cut, because when you do a trace and detach, sometimes when you see the white, it is not because the registration was wrong. Your image, when you're like, if you never zoom into your image, you're not going to realize how much white is actually showing. But when you're using the pen tool or the edit points to go around it and edit it, you're making it to where it is right to the edge. And that's how you can really tell if your machine is cutting incorrectly or not, because you know that you have it right to the edge. Because trace will leave this area right here. And although it doesn't seem very dark, when it's on paper, that's going to stand out like a sore thumb, and it's just going to be pure white. So doing this also helps with getting very accurate, right to the line print and cuts. All right, so I have completely manually traced this so that I can get a better cut. So now it's going to cut a whole lot better when I go to send now, which I wasn't even on here. You guys didn't see how bad this was before. Hold on, let me go to design. I'm going to copy this, and then all this edit point part, I'm going to go through and delete it all. It's just paper. It literally is just your machine, your paper, and a printer. That's it. That's all you're gonna need. And I mean, well, popsicle sticks if yeah, you'll need popsicle sticks to kind of hold it together. But oh no, went way back too far. Way too far. All right. Copy, paste. So the difference in these two images, we're going to go to send. This is before the manual trace. This is after. All of this area here now looks like this. So this is why I personally prefer to manual trace. I used to do everything as a manual trace. I got a little lazy once remove.bg, but before, everything I did, I manually traced it. All right, so now let's go back to send. We got a better trace. It's going to cut a whole lot faster, and go send. It is a lot of work, but the results are amazing. Seriously? Ugh, I hate when that happens. But I know I need to change that blade out. I definitely need to change this blade. It is very, very dull. Let me change this to a 6 because this blade is dull. So I need it to cut deeper. Uh-oh. Focus. Focus. Okay. All right, we're gonna load the next one. And while this one is doing the print and cut, we're gonna go ahead and sublimate this one. And I should have checked on the other side before I pulled this off. It's cut, just not all the way through. It really is time to change that blade. Oh, I was about to cut the wrong thing. Send. Wait a minute. Unload. All right. Let's make sure you're in the right spot. All right, you are definitely in the right spot, but let's reload you again just in case. Oh no, see, why for art thou acting crazy? All right, I'm just going to switch to the other side of the mat. Don't know what's going on. That's kind of like different troubleshooting things that I would do. If one side of the mat is acting crazy, I'll switch it to the other side to see if maybe it's just something on the mat that's picking up wrong. Before I just throw away the print and print it over again. Yep. A simple switch of the mat is all it took. No. No, you don't add weight to the line unless it's just unless it's just the line. I did mine as a fill. So the line part does not matter. You only add weight to the line when you want just the color of a line to print. And what that means is, so if I were to have this circle, if I make this green, this will not print. If I fill it with green, that will print. The green on the outside will not print, but the green on the inside will print. If I wanted the green on the outside, I have to add weight to it. So whether it's 1, see now it gets brighter. If I go 5, it's going to show and it will print. So you only add weight to it when you want that color to print, but I filled it in. I'm not sublimating the turtle. He's just a regular print and cut. Oh, we were supposed to sublimate while that was cutting. That's okay. That'll be the last of the cuts, and then we'll go sublimate, and then I'll be able to move the machine out of the way so that I can put them together. I am going to use some popsicle sticks. I also have some that are bigger than this for bigger cuts. I've done several videos on print and cuts for graduation fans and things like that, so you can use that. And then you can get dowel rods if you're going to stick it inside of something. So just get a dowel rod from the craft section at Walmart, Hobby Lobby, any of those places. I say Hobby Lobby, I don't even go to Hobby Lobby. Joann's, Michael's. So let me make sure that this cut first before I pull this off. Yep. So we're going to unload this and take off the outside. And let's see how it's like something so simple as rotating your mat. You should definitely be using both sides of your mat. I don't know what was going on with the other side, but it was acting cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And all I had to do was just flip the mat, and it actually registered and cut beautifully. All right. We are done with the machine. So let's unplug that and move it out of the way. And we're going to switch over to the other camera so that we can sublimate. What's her name? Miss Piggy. So I'm going to first check my pressure. I'm going to cover her up. All right. I can take it down just a little bit. Ooh. All right. We're going to take this and line it up to our print out, which is going to be a little bit off because I did do a manual trace. So my cut now is going to be a little bit smaller than the original one because I did that manual trace and I eliminated a lot of unnecessary areas. All right. I'm going to add a little tape to this, just so that she stays in place as I flip her over. So we're going to flip it, press it for 30 seconds. Everything I press with Honestly Speaking paper, I press for 30 seconds. So not just shirts or air fresheners. Even when I'm subbing to this, that's how great our paper is. I can pretty much sub to anything. Like glass, if I'm doing glass or something like that, I have to go a little bit longer. If I'm doing slate, that's 2 minutes to do slate. But for items like this, flat items, fabrics, 30 seconds with Honestly Speaking paper. So visit shop.silaholics.anonymous.com you can even get a sample pack if you just want to try it out first. So with this, you don't have to worry about, registration marks and print and cuts. You're able to get a much larger design or like larger print because you're not restricted by the print and cut areas. So there's that. All right, so she's ready to go. Let's come over to the other side. And put these bad boys together. And let me grab my phone, although I think it might be going dead. Yep, we're at 4%. And I don't have a charger in here. All right. What is the thickness or the name of your print and cut? Would like to try this from a... What do you mean, what is the thickness or the name of my print and cut? I don't understand what you mean by that. So you can do one of two things. If I really wanted this to have some weight to it, I mean, I could have also done like an offset, and I could really have this layered and pop dotted and gave her another offset. Why are you not going off? There you go. I could, like, if it wasn't that serious as far as making it stiff and it was just something for yourself, you can just go in and put your dowel rod in there. And either glue it down like this, like with the dowel rod in it, or you could put pop dots on it so that it still floats off of the back and the dowel rod is not kind of creating an impression. So there's a lot of different options you have for this. There's no one way, and there's no one way and no right way of doing it. So you can, oh, and my phone went dead already. You can pop dot it, you can just glue it down inside of it, or if you want it to be stiff, you can use popsicle sticks. So I'm gonna put some popsicle stick, well, this one, and, or if it's just like a cutout for something, you can also just, wait, what am I doing? Glue them together, and you can just put a dowel rod on the back. Like, if it's not going to be facing where anyone can see it and you don't need to cover up the stick, you don't have to. You can just make a nice backing for it and then just put the dowel rod or a clear acrylic stick or anything like that on the back. Okay. So I guess I'll put the sticks inside of it. I need to decide where I want the stick to be. So she's supposed to be flying. So I want my stick to kind of go like this, where she's at an angle. What in the world? Ah, it was on low. That's probably why my what's names weren't sticking. Okay, so we have to wait for this to heat up. In the meantime, in between time, I'm going to put this with the other cuts. You can use hot glue, but I'm just going to use some Barely Art craft glue to stick the two sides together, provided I can find my Barely Art glue. Which I'm probably not going to be able to. Or at least not the bottle that has the I see my Big Bear bottle. I don't see the bottle that has the tip on it. I haven't seen that one in a while. I guess let's use our Elmer's tape runner then. since I don't see my Barely Art glue, we can use the tape runner. Oh, well, that paper is not like the grades. It's a really thin paper. That is Navigator Platinum. I use Koala. I don't have one type of paper. I have Koala. I have Printery. That's Navigator Platinum. I've used Hammermill. I have Printworks. I've used photo paper. I don't have just one paper that I use. Oh, Jesus Christ. Wherefore art thou? I don't know where my big bottle is, but I do have a small bottle of the glue. So let's use this. Where is my pen? All right, so we'll use the little bottle. All right, my two printed parts and the cutout parts. So because this paper is really, really thin, I'm going to use another sheet of paper to basically I'm doing what's called matting. So I'm making this a thicker piece of paper so that you don't see my sticks and my dowel rod through there. Oh, this is not Barely Art. This is so loose. I have no idea what this is. This might be the art glitter glue. Whoa. All right, yeah, this is coming out kind of weird. And I was a little bit off on lining these two pieces up. So I'm just going to use my X-Acto knife to trim that little part, those little parts away. And then the little parts from where it didn't ideally cut. And then down here where it was outside registration marks, because this piece is cut, I now have the exact path that one should be on. I'm just going to cut it from the back. And now that's right on that line. All right, so we're going to let that dry. And this one I'm going to do with hot glue, just so you can see that you can do it both ways, because my hot glue gun should be heated by now. All right, so whenever I do it with hot glue, I like to have it where they're lined up first, because hot glue is not forgiving like liquid glue. So you want to have them perfectly aligned first. And then you want to add your hot glue. And I use Surebonder hot glue, and I don't use a heat gun unless it's 80. I prefer 80 watts or higher. This one I believe is 60, which is not my favorite. Or is this one 80? Yeah, this one is 60. The melting point on this is not super high, so it's not my favorite because it will dry too fast. It'll harden too fast, and I won't get like really smooth cutouts. When it's 80 watts or higher, it really, how it melted, and then by the time you push it down, it like oozes out and it makes it super smooth. And you can cover more area when you're using an 80 watt before the other part starts to harden. Wait a minute. What the heck? Oh, no, it doesn't. I'm like, why does it not seem like it's not matching up? I don't know what I was looking at. So this one, so when you're looking at a design like this, he doesn't have a middle part. He really, like, it's his legs here. So you would have to decide where you want that stick to go. Do you want it to just go up one leg on this side to where, you know, depending on what you're going to put it on, or you can have it on both legs for something like this. It can be on both. You can have it go up through this, but that's going to look a little weird on this one because it'll go right through, you know. So you have to decide where you want it to go. And I'm just going to have my dowel rod go on this one leg, but I could have it where it's on both. Because there isn't a lot of room here for popsicle sticks, it is just going to be the dowel rod in this area. But I want everything else to be stiffer, and I want it to not be flimsy. So we're going to add popsicle sticks to this, and it's basically creating a skeleton. All right, so I'm going to have this go I mean, I could have it go all the way up here, but I prefer not to. Let's see. Hold on. First, let me... All right. And if you want to fill in some of the smaller areas, you can cut these down. So I'm going to take I'm going to place it where I want it. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and just kind of create a score line on it. Then I take another stick, put it on that line, and snap it so I have a clean cut. You don't have to put this many sticks in it. This is actually really small. I have way too many sticks in here for this to be this small. This is probably the number of sticks I would have in here for a frozen for y'all, but my playback monitor is frozen. All right. All right, so I'm okay with that. And oh, I can't forget to put this in here, which I'm going to sit this in here. I want to be able to pull this stick out because this is not for a project that I need. So I want to create a channel. Normally, you'll see me create a channel on the Miss Piggy, but I normally create a channel. I can't create one. So I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to seal off the end so that it's like a makeshift channel without having another what's that thing called? Popsicle stick. So I'm just going to line it up. And and I'm going to seal this. And I'm only going on the edge. That way I'm leaving a gap in the middle to create a channel for my stick so that I can take it out after I'm done with this, because this is just for this live. And after this, Zani Mani can play with it, but he don't need my stick to play with it. So I'm going to make it to where you guys can see this, hopefully a little bit better. Okay. So just press that down. See, now I can take my stick out and I can put it back in, which I should have sealed it all the way first. Little tip: when you need a new stick, put a little glue gun, put a little hot glue on that side, and then stick it in so that it attaches to this one. And as you're pushing it, or pulling the trigger, it's not pushing the other glue stick back. Some of you probably already knew that trick. I hate this stand. So now I can go out around it pretty quickly because it's lined up pretty good here. So I'm just going to go around it. I'm not being very precise with my edges. If you are doing this for a client, you would want to be very precise with your edges to make sure your glue goes to the edge so it seals nicely on the ends. Because if you don't, then you're going to have some gaps. It's going to be lifting and you'll notice them. And I'm normally doing this, I'm mad at myself. I normally do this on top of parchment paper because it will catch all of these glue parts to this. I can't stand using hot glue on my cutting mat because then you end up with glue everywhere. I normally do this on top of parchment paper. I had to get inside that little corner and then seal it. All right, so I'm going to hold it up afterwards, but that one is done. Oh, see, right here. And this is what I hate about non-80 watts. It got hard so fast. Now, if this was for a client, I would use my hot, my heat gun to melt the glue again. So where it was back being a liquid and then press it down. But this is the issue with using a non-high wattage glue gun. The glue melts before you can get it all down, or you have to work in much smaller sections while the glue is still liquefied. So there's that one. And I want to clean this up just a little bit here where I didn't have good cuts. All right, so there's that one. I'm going to use this same stick for, what's this girl? Miss Piggy. So this one, I'm going to show you how to make the channel. So that your image part is flat, I recommend putting your sticks on the image part so that it's flat to this and it's not creating a dome. You'll see the dome on the back side. So I'm going to create my channel by putting 2 sticks. You put your dowel rod in the middle so that you know where to put the other stick. And it should be right up against it. So it's creating a channel. And then I fill it in with all the other sticks. So we're going to take one that goes through her foot here. Ooh, no. I probably should have cut this down. All right, let's take you off. It was way too long. All right, let's put that on her foot and mark it. Oh, come on. And if I wanted to, I could put another one here just because my bow goes up that way. So I could put another one here, but it wasn't really needed. All right. Now that my skeleton is in place, we put our dowel rod in place and glue it down. If you are new to doing this, what you can also use are the binder clips. So once you kind of get it lined up, you can use binder clips to hold it in place. That way, once you're lifting it and stuff, it's not moving around. Let me grab one more binder clip. Ooh, look at that. I technically told my husband, Phil, there is a black marker in here. I don't ever use it, so I didn't know it was in there. So there is a black marker in my office. All right, where are the rest of you? Yeah, I can do it without another. I just wanted to show, like, you can put one, and there I go. You can put one like on this side. But you just want to keep it in place. So there it is from, from this side and then the back. If I hold it to the side, you might be able to see where that dowel rod is kind of sticking out at. And as far as glue guns, like I said, I don't like this one. The one that I use is called Arrow. I use a 300 watt one. They do have one that's an 80 watt. I can't stand the stand that's on it, but I prefer one, like someone said, that's going to burn your fingertips off. I use a 100 watt, I mean a 300 watt glue gun when I'm doing these like for clients. All right, let me head over to the other camera so that you guys can see them fully. So we have the one that's sublimated to glitter cardstock. And then there's the back. And there you go. You see how you can see where that dowel rod is, but from the front, she's completely smooth. You don't see it because you put the sticks and things on this side, so it's nice and flat on this side. So when you were putting the back down, it curved around it. And then because I'm able to take this off, it's better for shipping that way also. And now here is this one. Well, he's a bit bigger, so let's hold him back here. Okay, so let's see. Got it with line weight. So a solid fill circle or shape always has a cut path on it. Everything always, I know he's gone now, but everything always has a cut path on it. Making it a line color does not mean that it has a path. If I were to make a shape, let's kind of just go over here. So if I make a shape and I remove both the line color and the fill color, you see how there's nothing there. If I go to send, it's still going to cut that. So having a line color, having fill color means nothing. Once you put a shape or you type out text or you trace something, it is going to be a cut line. It doesn't have to have anything in it to be a cut line. It is going to cut. Okay, yeah, so I answered that one. Do you need a certain print machine for sublimation and sublimation paper? So yes, you definitely need a printer that has sublimation ink in it. So any Epson printer can be used as a sublimation printer. If you want to start off small, that right there is an EcoTank printer. That's the 2720. They also have like the 2760 and some other ones. I wouldn't get the other ones that are like 200, 300, or close to 350. If you're going to pay that amount for those, you might as well get the Epson F570. Only thing with the Epson F570 is it doesn't have a scanner. The benefit of these is it has a scanner. So for your smaller items, you can use the scanner to make templates, like exact templates of your substrates. But you can use any Epson printer, purchase your ink from Honestly Speaking, shop.silaholics.com, and you can also get the sublimation paper from us as well. For stuff like that, if you want, you really don't have to use sublimation paper. You can use copy paper, but then you'll have to put butcher paper on top because that will bleed through. Your colors aren't going to be like exact, and like the clarity of it. But if you want to just practice, you don't have to waste sublimation paper. You can use any paper. You can use cardstock. You can print to a color cardstock. It's still going to sublimate. You can print to a napkin if you can get it to go through the printer. It will still sublimate. Gotta go, but you're amazing. Excellent in-depth tutorial. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining, Brian. If you come back to watch this, hey, Jesse. Hey, Jesse. Can you tell me why you're doing the line thing? You're probably further back. I'm not sure which part you're referring to because I wasn't doing it on the computer, so you're probably very far back. If you were talking about when I was doing the edit points, and you're getting to this point now where I'm answering questions, that was to manually trace it to clean up the lines. But you probably already know that by now because I explained that again at the end of that. Now, y'all, this is the level of detail you get in one of the professor's paid classes and then some, and y'all are getting it for free. Hit the like button to show your appreciation. So the sticks makes the print and cut sturdy. Yes, it makes it to where it won't, see now, it won't bend, it won't do anything. So it will stand up nice and straight. Girl, I know you'll be glad when this month is over so you can get a breather. I don't know how you lasted this long. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Nice. One day I'll be this good. Elbow cough. Great job, Professor. You definitely can be. You can be this good today. All you have to do is print it out, cut it out, and then glue it together. This is one of the most simplest projects that you can do because you don't have to paper piece a bunch of different like sections together. All you have to do is print. And this seemed like a really long process because I was teaching through it. But if you just kind of go, keep it real simple, get you a nice high resolution image, do a trace and detach, print and cut that, print and cut the back. You don't even have to double layer it the first time, just so you can get the feel of it the same way that I did this. Just do 2 layers, the printed layer and then the cut part. So you just get used to doing the print and cut and lining them up and gluing them. This is one of the most simplest projects that you can do if you want to learn print and cut and start off doing party favors and decor and centerpieces and things like that. And then as far as finishing them off, you can use anything. You can put this inside of like you saw how I did with the number 1, you can get the Dollar Tree base. You can wrap that with paper or put paper on the inside. I had another one where I wrapped it in, so I'm going to go back down. And you see, this is just a little pail. It's a shorter stick, put a piece of styrofoam in there. So it was in there like that. I'm going to go back down to, so this one was a Dollar Tree vase, and I just wrapped it with like, it's not that mesh. It's more like a colored burlap type one. And I just took rocks out of my front yard. There's a plate under there. This is just brown paper shreds. I just stuffed it in there. There's a piece of styrofoam in there to hold the stick. So you can create, like, you know, not just do the print and cut, but add items to it to really bring the theme together. I've made custom ones. Like this was one that I made. I made that base from foam board and cardstock. Let's see what other bases are here. Another one with the glass base, which I showed that one earlier. This is foam base, so it's just straight. This one I made from foam board and cardstock to make a movie reel. And then there's a stick going right through here, and it just goes straight through the middle. So you can make your bases from anything. The base on this one, I just held it up because this was when I shipped off. I just put in a piece of styrofoam, and it's sitting inside of a box. These are all sitting inside of a box. Let's see. What other bases are there on here? A towel. So this was a towel cake. This was dual purpose. It also was one of the prizes. So it served as a centerpiece for the party, and then we marked which ones went to who, but it's a towel cake. So it's a bath towel, a hand towel, and a washcloth rolled up, and it was the centerpiece, put some ribbon on it. Really inexpensive to do for, you know, prizes on a budget. And then it became the giveaway for the games and the prizes for the baby shower. So dual purpose. This is a box that I made from foam board and then wrapped it in cardstock, wrapped it in cardstock for the color. So that's another option. And then, of course, tissue paper and stuff like that. Let's see, what are some other options? This is a wood base and a hole is drilled into it. And then the dowel rod just goes into the wood base. So you can make wood bases also. And this is wrapped in 651 vinyl. The Doc McStuffins ones are all on wood bases. You can make a box and put it in there. So this had a balloon topper, but you can also have it where it's just your cutout. And this is just a box. It's the one from Walmart that's like a cube. It's like the smallest box that you can get at Walmart. And it's just wrapped in, I think this is wrapped in 651 vinyl also because I buy it by the big rolls. So it's not a waste for me. Or you can wrap it in paper or spray paint it or whatever. And then put styrofoam in the middle so that your dowel rod has something to stick to. And then it's sitting on top of another box just for stability because it was an outside party. Let's see. Another one, different topper, still gumballs, kind of random, and it's still a Dollar Tree vase. So that's a good base to use. Ooh, this one was really cool bases. I'm not sure if you can see them. These were the Oasis. I guess you can say like, they're not vases, but it's like for floral arrangements to put the wet foam in. And I just drilled a hole through it and had styrofoam on the bottom. And that's what the base was for these. Oh, so you can see it now. So it's the Oasis vase or I don't know, flower holder. And then I just drilled a hole. And then the inside of this is a piece of styrofoam glued to the inside. And that's what they're sticking in on here. This is, I was going to bring this one out too, because this could be a centerpiece also, but I use it as a cake stand. It is the cable. It's the roll that the cable comes on, like from the cable guy. Countcast is here. He got to the end of his stuff. Can I have those? He actually came back and brought me a few more. So I have these in a couple different colors, and this is just contact paper, and then this is green moss on the top. I'm trying to find the other one. So there's that one. You can see like that's in that base. And oops, he's not a centerpiece. Let's see. Oh, another centerpiece option, print and cut. It's inside of a jar. So your base for your centerpiece can literally be anything. You just have to create the top portion of it. And this one I made from styrofoam. Not styrofoam, foam board. So I cut the box and had the base. And so I made that from foam board. Let's see. Is there any other style? Here's one where I was saying, like, you know, you don't really see the white. You can kind of see it from because of the angle, but these are cut right down to it. Look how good Mufasa looks, where it looks like, you know, they're just the regular animals like in the grass because you don't see an excessive amount of white. And which one was I trying to show before? I'm all the way to the top, so I'm missing something. Oh, you know what? I think it's over here. Yeah, I was going to show this one. These are smaller versions, and this is just those little cups from the Dollar Tree, and they're spray painted. There's a piece of styrofoam on the inside and a smaller dowel rod inside of them, and you just push it inside, and it's a piece of foam board, and it's just glued to it. So you can literally make bases out of anything you can make a base out of. All right. You You are amazing. I'm glad I caught you. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Felicia. Can you turn the turtle around on the back side? I did. So I actually did flip it, so you can't really tell. So this is the back, because the 4 is wrong. But if you watch the video, I did the L, so it's the right way. But the 4 is wrong. And then this is the one where the 4 is correct. And then the L. So it looks the same. It's just that your 4 is going to be backwards. If I didn't do it, the part for this, the L would have been backwards also, but it's showing the right way now. You can use any size dowel rod. This one, I don't know. This is like the smallest one that you can get. Well, one of the smallest. I really don't remember what size this is. It's might be 3/16, I think, or something like that. But as far as the length of it, you can get the ones inside the pack. So they have some that's inside of a pack, and they're a bit shorter. So it doesn't really matter. Just one that's pretty thin, but not. Then actually, there's some smaller than this. They're like too thin. You'll be able to tell. It has a little weight to it. So what do you do with these designs after the event? Oh, I no longer. I actually have quite a few of these. I showed once before, ones that I had, and they just sit here. When I was an actual event planner, oh, I would reuse these. I've reused them a lot, but I now just sell them to people. So I don't know what they do with them. I don't care what they do with them. You can use them. And that's why I like to have this where this comes out. They can use this as wall decor. I have quite a few of these. And this is what happens when you don't have them in there, because they're down here, there's no support. So this can bend, but this one won't bend because it has a support. And this doesn't have support because there wasn't enough room for support and the dowel rod. But I've had these, and Zani Mani will play with them like they're toys, and actually, like paper dolls, basically. So the kids can play with them and pretend with them. Yeah, you can do whatever you want with them afterwards. All right, so I'm going to get out of here, y'all. It's almost 3 hours, 2 hours and 46 minutes. But it doesn't take this long. I was teaching as you go through it, and once you kind of learn the techniques as far as trace and detach and, doing your print and cut, you can get these done really quickly. I've had last-minute orders, and I've done multiples in an hour. So you can do it too. And last time, this is the one that is done with sublimation. So if you haven't thought about other ways to use a sublimation printer, right now there is a shortage on shirts, like poly shirts, to be able to buy them in bulk. Y'all better start figuring out different things to do with your sublimation printers. And this is team small. Like this is a really nice size, and you can put it on a base. And this is not a bad size for 8.5 by 11. And technically, you can do 8.5 by 14. You can even do longer. You just can't do wider with the small format printers. But there's a lot that you can do with the small format printers. And you guys just have to think outside the box, unlock your creativity for what you can do with your sublimation printer. In the month of September, if you are someone that's into events and stuff, starting in the second week, I'm going to post the class on the Academy. It's going to be a couple weeks long, but we're going to go over a lot of different things that you can do as an event planner or decorator. If you want to DIY your own events and you have a sublimation printer, you have a special event coming up, you may want to sign up for that, because I'm going to be showing you a bunch of different things that you can do for events using sublimation. There's a lot of things that you can do. So we're going to be covering that in September for our Party Favors and Decor Bootcamp with sublimation. So continue to look out on the Academy for that. Create an account now because you never know when I give away classes. So academy.silaholics.anonymous.com is where you would go to sign up for classes with the professor. She's like, I'm so glad a couple months ago I brought a bunch of Cricut shirts when they were on sale. She says, count me in. But yeah, so that will be like starting in the second week of September. I will have that posted soon. All right. So thank you guys so very much for watching. Don't forget to visit the website shop.silaholics.anonymous.com for all of your HS ink products. And I'll look at the colors. This was printed with HS ink pigment ink. And this was HS Ink, Sublimation ink, and Sublimation paper on glitter cardstock. So visit shop.silaholics.anonymous.com to pick up all of your Honestly Speaking products. All right, guys. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Tomorrow's the last day. We're doing chip bags, water bottle labels, and Capri Suns and fruit snacks because those are the only templates I feel like doing. All right, y'all. Until next time, have a great one. Peace.